Good evening, everybody. I'm Anand, publisher of Navayana. First, a request, if those of you who have not yet switched off your cell phones or put them on silent, just to remind you that you have to. It's a delight and pleasure to have you all here at the second annual Navayana lecture. As many of you here may know, we had the maverick Slovenian Marxist philosopher Slavoj Žižek in 2010, and this year it is Angela Yvonne Davis. 2011 has been a bounteous year for Navayana so far. It began with 4 slim poetry volumes and then the publication of Bhimayana, the graphic biography of Dr. Ambedkar, for which we have had launches across 5 cities, and now the Bhimayana caravan moves to London on the eve of Dr. Ambedkar's anniversary, where we'll have a launch along the London Book Fair there. Along with 2 books by Angela Davis, published on the occasion of this lecture, a reissue of her classic Women, Race and Class, and a newer work, Our Presence Obsolete. We have a whole set of new books, including Saidiya Hartman's Lose Your Mother and Kamala Visweswaran's Uncommon Cultures, reflecting the kind of trajectory that Navayana is taking in terms of printing books under license, which are important, which are never made available here, and which need to be read here. Later this year, we will see a definitive book on the Adivasi question by Shashank Kela, Abhasur's study of the role of caste and gender in modern physics, and Nalin Suarez's magisterial study on the social elan of early Buddhism in kind of early kind of philosophical Buddhism. And among our graphic books, we have a list developing with Jyotirao Phule's Gulamgiri Slavery, interpreted by Aparajita Nainan. And we have The Vanished Path, a comic travelogue by Bharat Murthy on how Buddhism was made to vanish from India. Besides, we have a definitive 600-page tome of activist scholar, the late K. Balagopal's writings, An Ear to the Ground. In November, Navayana shall have pioneering publisher Andrei Shifrin, founder of the New Press in New York, visiting India and delivering lectures in Delhi and a couple of other cities. Navayana shall be publishing 2 of his books as well. On the whole, we have a very heady 2011 ahead, as Navayana moves from 6 titles a year to 12 and now to 24 titles a year in the matter of last 3 years. Let me remind you that Navayana is an unfunded, fiercely independent publishing house which depends on sale of books to sustain itself, and those who have rushed in to grab your seats, feel free to buy books. And there are special offers, especially Angela Davis books, and there are some special nice offers and elegant packaging done outside. Our book club remains no longer the cozy 10,000 rupee one. We have hiked it up, but do take a copy of our catalog and explore that option. See, Navayana, many of you may know, it has a dedicated focus on issues related to caste from an anti-caste perspective. And those familiar with our list may know that Navayana believes that an engagement as I was saying, an engagement with a persistent issue like caste cannot happen in isolation from an engagement with similar forms of discrimination and power across the world, which is why we'll be soon publishing a book on the Burakumin in Japan as well. That we should invite Angela Davis to deliver the second annual Navayana lecture involves both a measure of calculation and impulse. Like with Zizek, it was an impulsive email to Professor Davis sometime in July 2010 that resulted eventually in this India tour. Let me quote from that email. The long-term purpose is to seek to engage African-American scholars and activists with the caste question and the persistent issues of untouchability. Unfortunately, there has not been much of a serious dialogue between India's Dalit movement and the civil rights struggle in the US. Equally unfortunately, Gandhi has been signposted as an icon in the global anti-imperialism and civil rights struggles, but not B.R. Ambedkar, a product of Columbia University, a student of John Dewey, among others, and someone who was a Dalit. While speaking at Delhi University yesterday, Professor Davis said she had been hoping to visit India since the 1970s. My question is, why has it taken so very long? Why could she not make it earlier? The answer perhaps lies in trying to answer another related but uncomfortable question. Is being black comparable to being colonized or to being untouchable, being Dalit? A good many articulate Indians claimed victimhood in the act of being colonized by whites as oppressors. For the radical 19th century thinker Jyotirao Phule, slavery in India was what the Brahmins and other Dvijas did to Sudras and Atishudras. Swami Dharmatirtha, another non-Brahmin intellectual from Kerala, wrote at length about what he termed Hindu and Brahmin imperialism. In Tamil Nadu, Ayodhyadas and Periyar talked about a similar worldview. In a letter to Du Bois in 1946, Ambedkar wrote this much similarity between the position of the untouchables and the position of the Negroes of America, that the study of the latter is not only natural but necessary. In his piece, Which is Worse, Slavery or Untouchability, Ambedkar concluded that untouchability is worse than slavery. When many upper-class Indians celebrated the election of Barack Obama as US president, I was quite upset. For these very people could equally happily be protesting against reservation or affirmative action for Dalits and OBCs. These and related matters I shall leave for Gail Omvedt to take up later in the evening. Gail is, of course, a dear friend, best known for her 1994 book, Dalits and the Democratic Revolution, and also the author of Seeking Begumpura and 7 other books. She's a pioneering chronicler of both the Dalit